Our next speaker is a proud Saulteaux Cree woman from the George Gordon First Nation, who will share with us how she's making change in the spirit of truth and reconciliation. She's the co-founder of White Pony Lodge, a not-for-profit with a mission to create a safe and connected community. She was named one of CBC's Future 40 Award recipients for 2017. Please welcome Shawna Ochoo. I'm pleased to offer Shawna a gift of tobacco in exchange for providing her knowledge.
Hello, Hanse. Anin Sekwakin, Pimuse Makwa Ikwe, Ishkonegonig Donchi. So, my name is Shawna Ochoo. I'm from the George Gordon First Nation. And before I start, I would first like to acknowledge Treaty 4, the traditional lands of the Cree, Saulteaux, Lakota, Nakota, and Dakota, the homeland of the Métis, and the shared land with our settlers and newcomer nations. Well, I'm really happy to be here tonight. Very honored to be here, to be asked to be a speaker amongst, the many wonderful individuals who will be sharing the stage with me. So, as I said, I am from the George Gordon First Nation. I am a proud, as I was introduced, a proud Saulteaux Cree woman from the Treaty 4 territory. My earlier journey began about 10 years ago. 10 years ago, around today, I was a young woman sitting in front of a judge in another bad relationship, leaving, a violent relationship, struggling to find my purpose, struggling to find my direction in life. I remember very vividly when I was leaving the relationship that I was in, how hopeless I had felt. It was a really trying time for me, for my children. I had no home, with little connection to my culture, little connection to my identity, little connection to who I was as a woman and a mother. I had no help. I think all I had left to my name was two garbage bags full, actually, of clothes that I had. My relationships were pretty much in ruins, and it took a lot to I struggled a lot, basically, in gaining my footing in life. I had no home for my child, and I was dealing with a lot of the social and economic issues that many young Indigenous women face. It was I apologize. Because when I think of my daughter during this time, it always makes me very emotional. I was told that when I first started out in my journey, it was going to be a tough journey. It was going to be a struggle in regaining myself. I really didn't know who I was or who I wanted to be. Everything around me in my life and in my journey told me that all the odds were against me. As a young girl, you don't realize how much work it was going to be to really be something or somebody. And nobody around me in my home when I was younger really encouraged that. It took a lot to actually gain my footing in life and know the direction that I wanted to go. It took a lot of looking at myself and looking at my healing and what I needed to do in order to rebuild my life. I had to take that step forward in reconnecting to who I was, and I didn't even know what that looked like. I really did not know what reconnecting meant. All I knew was the memories that I had when I was a little girl, smelling the sweetgrass, hearing the beat of the drum, feeling my feet as I would run on the open grass around my grandfather's rain dances, hearing the healing, watching the healing occur. That's all I had were those memories. For myself, making that journey back to who I was the greatest and toughest journey that I would have to make. But I knew that in order for myself to heal, in order to really achieve my dreams and achieve my goals, to really build a home for my children so that they could have a life, I would need to make that journey back to my heart. I would need to make that journey back to who I was as that young girl, as that little girl. And that was a tough journey because everything around me was saying that I was not good enough, that I was not strong enough, that I was not smart enough. I was told that from society that I was not valuable enough. I think Ilona had mentioned that earlier tonight. And that's one of those things as a young Indigenous girl, growing up in the society that we currently have, that these are the things that we're being told, that are being spoken to us through the media, through our peers. And it was a tough journey for myself to really uncover and connect back to who I was. The reclamation part only occurred after I really started to connect to who I was and to understand and to find my self-worth. And it took a lot to actually do that. It took a lot of healing. It took a lot of seeking out support, seeking out help, seeking out the resources within my community, because there were plenty. But it was up to me to actually go and get those supports that I needed around me. Reclaiming who I was as a young Indigenous woman was probably one of the most strongest things that I could do along my journey. And it was tough for me to do. But I knew that as a mother of a 15-year-old at that time, as a mother of, a 3-year-old at that time, it was something that I needed to do. I had to look at understanding my identity, understanding who I was in order to move forward in my life. I had to I had to understand my past. I had to even go deeper than, just, that all of the trauma and all of the pain that was occurring within my own life and in my family's life. I had to go back even further and take a look at, historically, what has been happening to Indigenous people for hundreds of years. And that was really tough. It was really tough for me, but it also helped me heal a lot in my life. If I wanted my children to be happy, if I wanted my children to be healthy, I had to do that work. And the reason why is so that it would be easier for them to understand. as well. As part of this work, this personal work, this interpersonal work this journey that I have been on over the past, over 10 years, there had been a lot of healing that had occurred. Much of it done through spirituality, my own personal spirituality, connecting with elders, connecting with ceremony, going back to ceremony. A lot of that has helped me heal, I guess you can say. Helped me to find forgiveness and understanding. It helped me to create this new person who I never ever thought existed within. And I only thought, as a young person, I think it was mentioned earlier again, that we are so creative. And I had this idea as a young person of who I wanted to be. And I used to imagine who I wanted to be in the world. But because of all of the issues and all of the issues that were oppressing me as a young Indigenous woman, it wouldn't allow for me to actually turn those into dreams. So as I got older, and as I got a little bit older, I started looking at, you know what, everything that was told to me before, it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't, those are all images, and those are all things that were told to me that prevented me from actually being somebody, and it kept me kind of boxed in, I would say. I really like this quote, and it says, "A comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there." And the reason why I like this quote is because I got comfortable in being a young woman and not having a voice. I got comfortable in being almost silenced. And before all of this, in my dreams as a young girl, I was, proud. I would see myself as a proud woman who spoke up and stood out for her community, who spoke up and stood out for her family. I know I should be reading from this, but I'm not. But and for myself, I had to go back to that. I had to go back to those dreams that I had before they were all kind of taken away, I guess, from the abuse and the trauma and the pain and that were covered up. As part of this and as part of my healing journey, I've been blessed with a lot of fortunate opportunities, and one of those opportunities was to help create and be a co-founder of White Pony Lodge. At White Pony Lodge, our mission is to create a safe and connected community. And our vision is to create a proud and inclusive community guided by the spirit of truth and reconciliation through partnerships, programs, and services. That's not necessarily how we started, but it is certainly the push that our community is guiding us towards. When we first started, White Pony Lodge was developed because we wanted to call attention to a lot of the gang violence that was occurring within our community. We wanted to come together as a community and be there for one another to support each other. We started looking at what other communities, other groups were doing in their communities, and right away we saw the Bear Clan. We went over there, offered tobacco and cloth, and they provided us with a model that we were able to bring back and implement within our own community. Since then, we have grown and we continuously grow as a grassroots organization. We now offer the intergenerational trauma support groups. We offer healing and recovery-based programs in the evening. We also continue to do our patrol, but we are now in the process of creating a safe space that is available in the evenings to our community members who are in need. So there's a number of things that we do now with at White Pony Lodge, and that's because of the support that we've had in our community. But it's also because it all started in one place. And that one place goes back to recovery, and it goes back to healing, and it goes back to reconnecting to reconnecting to culture, reconnecting to our identity. I was told, and you'll have to forgive me, I was told to never read from a paper, to always speak from my heart, so I never read from a paper. I'm actually probably more horrible at reading from the paper than I am just actually speaking openly. And the reason for that is because I'm only speaking my truth as I stand up here tonight. And to get to the bottom of all of this, even though I'm very nervous and whatnot, is reconciliation. Tonight, as I said, I am very honored to be here, to be asked to speak, because there are many young women who don't feel that they have a voice, who are currently have those labels and have those stereotypes and believe that they are those labels and believe that they are those stereotypes. And when it comes to reconciliation, being able to stand in our truth is very, very important. And tonight, I have to say thank you to the University of Regina. Thank you to the students here tonight for allowing me to stand in my truth, no matter how much my voice shakes or how much I kind of fumble along here. To conclude everything, and just as the point states here, if it doesn't make you uncomfortable, then it's not true reconciliation. And right now, I am very uncomfortable standing in front of everybody, so this has to be a little bit of reconciliation right here, being able to share my story and being able to share my truth. And I really just would like to thank everybody for just inviting me to be here and sharing this space with you all. So I just want to thank you, miigwech and hi. But before I conclude, I would just like to share a song. And this song is very important to me, as I was 13 years old and I was gifted this song, and I couldn't remember the words, but I always remembered the tune, and it was gifted to me in ceremony. And it's called the Bear Song. So I wanted to share that with you because it took many years for me to actually relearn the song that I'm going to be sharing with you tonight. Before I went into this ceremony and received the song, I had a dream of walking with these bears, and as I said, I was really young, so when I had this dream, it felt so real, and I was scared when I woke up. But what had happened was there was this great big bear, and this great big bear had asked me had basically kind of gestured for me to get on his back. And in my dream, I got on the bear's back, and I looked behind, and I saw these two little bears walking with it, and I was guiding these great big bears. Anyways, I go into the ceremony, I participate in the ceremony, and at the end, the elder had asked me, he said, well, he didn't ask me, but he pulled me aside and he said, you know, I know you've been dreaming of bears. And he told me back bits and parts of my dream that nobody would ever really know unless they were actually, you know. And so to me, it was such a profound moment. But he ended up giving me the name, which is Pimuse Makwai Kwe, Walking Bear Woman, and also gifting me the song. So with that, I just want to thank you, and Miigwech, thank you for allowing me to share this stage and the space with you all tonight.
Thank you so much, Shawna. Talking about reconciliation is so important, and I think that it's important for all of us who do work in our communities to make change to remember about the importance of reconciliation, and that if it does not make us uncomfortable, it is not true reconciliation.